Welcome to Unsolved Archives, the place where mysteries don't stay buried. We explore unexplained phenomena, unsolved cases, and dark chapters of history that the world hasn't forgotten. New cases drop regularly. Subscribe and dive into the unknown. In January 1959, a group of 10 hikers set off on an expedition through the northern Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union. They were students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, led by Igor Dyatlov, an experienced 23-year-old hiker who had completed dozens of expeditions before. Their goal was to reach Otorten Mountain, a grade 3 hike, the most difficult category at the time. One member of the group turned back early due to illness. That decision likely saved his life. The remaining 9 continued into the mountains. On February 1st, they set up camp on the slopes of a mountain the local Mansi people called Kolat. In the Mansi language, that name means dead mountain. When the group failed to return as scheduled, a search party was sent out. On February 26th, they found the tent. It had been slashed open from the inside. All belongings, food, boots, warm clothing, were still inside. Footprints in the snow showed that the hikers had walked away from the tent in an orderly line, barefoot or wearing only socks, in temperatures of -30 degrees Celsius. The trail led into the forest, where rescuers found the first 2 bodies near the remains of a small fire. They were wearing almost no clothing. Over the following weeks, 5 more bodies were recovered nearby. They appeared to have died from hypothermia. But then came the final 4, found months later under several meters of snow in a ravine deeper in the forest. And what the medical examiners found changed everything. One hiker had a fractured skull. Another had severe chest fractures, the equivalent of being hit by a car. A third was missing her tongue. But here is the truly disturbing part. There were no external wounds, no cuts, no bruises on the skin. The damage was entirely internal. Forensic experts at the time said the force required to cause those injuries was beyond what any human being could produce with their bare hands. And the clothing of several victims tested positive for abnormal levels of radiation. Soviet authorities closed the investigation shortly after. The official conclusion was vague. The hikers had died due to an unknown compelling force. The files were classified for decades. Since the case became public, dozens of theories have emerged. Here are the most discussed. Theory 1: an avalanche. Some experts believe a sudden avalanche caused the hikers to flee the tent in panic, leading to hypothermia and injury from the snow pressure. However, critics point out there was no evidence of an avalanche at the site, and the slope angle was considered too low to trigger one. Theory 2: military testing. The radiation found on the clothing and the strange orange spheres reported in the sky that night by multiple witnesses have led many to believe Soviet military testing was taking place in the area. A cover-up would explain why the files were sealed for so long. Theory 3: infrasound. Some researchers suggest that wind conditions in the past could create infrasound, low-frequency sound waves below human hearing, which are known to cause extreme panic, paranoia, and hallucinations. This could explain why the hikers fled in terror with no apparent threat. Theory 4: the Mansi people. Early suspicion fell on the indigenous Mansi people, who considered Kolat a sacred and forbidden mountain. However, investigators found no evidence of any confrontation, and the Mansi were cleared. Theory 5: something else. Some investigators who reviewed the declassified files in 2019 noted details that still don't fit any official explanation. The missing tongue, the unusual radiation, the internal injuries with no external marks. Whatever happened that night on Dead Mountain, it may never be fully understood. 9 experienced hikers, one night, and questions that 6 decades of investigation have failed to answer. Was it a natural disaster? A government secret? Something the human mind isn't ready to explain? The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern history. The files have been reopened and closed multiple times. Theories come and go. But the truth stays buried under the snow of Dead Mountain. This has been Unsolved Archives. If you want to go deeper into the world's most disturbing mysteries, subscribe. New cases drop every week. And remember, some questions don't have answers. They only have archives.